There's a word for that. So my friend Joanna Lohman coined this word called professional, and it's the combination of personal and professional. And I teach LinkedIn workshops, and one of the things we talk about is you want to infuse a little bit of the personal side, a little of your personality into your profile.
It's Melanie Johnson here. Welcome to another great podcast. We always bring you fantastic experts, and today is no different. We have Lyndsay Dowd here today. She is an expert coach on leadership. She's written a book. We're going to talk about that some today. You are going to be so having so much fun today. I've already talked to her a little bit in the green room, and the energy is off the charts back here. Welcome for another great day. Lyndsay, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Melanie. I'm happy to be
So
with
tell
you.
us a little bit about your background. How did you get into leadership and coaching?
Yeah, I spent 25 years in corporate America and 23 were climbing the ranks at IBM. And I started in customer service and worked my way up to executive. And I used to manage big sales teams for them. And I always had a knack for leadership as a kid. Like my favorite thing in school was any course that had leadership in it. So there was a this natural like draw for me.
Nice.
However, when I was in corporate, you have your fair share of great and inspiring leaders and really tragic, terrible
Yeah.
ones. And it wasn't until the end of 23 years I decided to leave IBM. I went to another company that sought me out. I got there, going to run another sales team, something I knew how to do. And in 6 short months, they fired me.
Oh, man.
And I was gutted. I was beside myself. I thought I was the only executive to ever be fired. I thought I had a big scarlet letter on my chest and nobody would ever want to work with me again. And after a month of kind of licking my wounds, I asked myself 3 questions. What do I love to do? What am I really good at? And how can I help people the most? And I knew how to build modern leaders and I knew how to create irresistible culture that drives results. So I started my company, Heartbeat for Hire. That was a little over 2.5 years ago. I wrote my first book, which I know we're going to talk about. And then my second book just came out in July. I have a podcast and I speak and I coach. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
And I love that you have a book and you're working on your second book. It's just such a great way to brand you and get your message out and decide who you are. And the 3
Yeah.
questions that you asked yourself, not many people remember to ask yourself those
No.
questions to figure out who you are and what your superpowers are, you know?
Well, and that's such a I was just on a show yesterday talking about this, and so many people they think that their personal brand is their job title, and it's not. You have to align with your purpose. That's when you're gonna do your best work. That's when you're gonna be the most gratified, the most satisfied, the most
Yeah.
inspired. And so when you stop to ask yourself those questions, you really can align with all the decisions you're
Yeah.
making and your values become really clear. But I think so many of us have just been kind of, isn't my brand my job? I'm VP of sales or I'm VP of business development or I'm GM of this. That's
Yeah.
a part of your identity, but that's not your purpose.
And it's really deciding who you are, right? Like, what are your values? What part of you do you want
Totally.
to bring to the table? And we're also multi-dimensional. Like, part of you is the
Yes.
person you show up at work and people know you as the VP, but then there's the part of you that
Totally.
goes out with your friends and you have this great sense of humor that maybe not everybody knows about. So you've got
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Yeah. Who are
there's a
you?
word for that.
Yeah.
There's a word for that. So my friend Joanna Lohman coined this word called professional, and it's the combination of personal and professional. And I teach LinkedIn workshops, and one of the things we talk about is you want to infuse a little bit of the personal side,
Mhm.
a little of your personality into your profile. And you know what? Mine says mom of twins, and it says wiener dog lover because I have dachshunds. And the amount of people that connect on that first and then delve deeper, it's remarkable to me. And what it tells me is people are hungry for connection. They really want to connect with people who are real, who aren't too polished, who
Mhm.
have been through bad stuff
Yeah.
and who have come out better for it. And those little personal nuggets, don't underestimate those. Those are really important.
You know, back in the day when I think of like the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s, you had the staunch of, you're the executive
Never.
CEO and it's just this like big,
Yes.
cement thing over the top of you, like you can't see behind the
Yeah.
veil of anything. And leadership has changed so much
Totally.
since then. Let's dive into that a
Really.
little bit. I mean, how has leadership changed? And even since the pandemic, it has changed even more. I mean, I think we've had this great shift in the way we work
Yeah.
versus working at the office, now working from our house. There's just been a huge shift.
Mhm.
And then technology has almost catapulted that even further.
Yeah, I think most of the change we've seen has been positive.
Mhm.
But, going back to, the great resignation, which was happening in the middle of the pandemic, you had an enormous population of people that were fed up.
Yeah.
I mean, we had taken our work home, literally, and our days were just bleeding into each other. Like there was zero separation between work and personal.
Mhm.
And you were in each other's bedrooms for the first time. You were seeing each other's
Yeah.
kids, but you know what? If you were being treated like crap,
Mhm.
you were done. And what that was this massive outcry for we deserve better.
Mm.
And here's the reality. You can't be what you can't see. If you've never had a good leader, how do you know what that looks
Yeah.
like? I mean, I grew up in tech. And so I was with a ton of men on every team. I
Yeah.
was like the only woman for many years. And their style of leadership was very bro and sports analogies, which I had zero interest in. If you were going to talk to me about like someone who, came back from a spinal cord injury and scored the winning touchdown, I'm interested. But if you're going to talk about the play last night, well, I
Yeah.
don't care. So figuring out how to inspire, how to create spaces for people to do the jobs they were hired for became the desire of the masses. And so now people are looking for that inspiration. They're looking for that autonomy. They're looking for people to create safe spaces and build trust. And when you do this, and I speak from experience, it's magic. The people show up. They are eager, they're inspired, they give you their best. It is so easy to shatter trust.
Mm.
It can take one comment, it can take one flip remark, and you will lose that employee's trust for a really long time unless you stand up and you say, I think I said something on the last call we had. I don't like how it came out. I could tell you changed, your energy
Yeah.
changed. I want to apologize and I want to tell you I'm going to do better. Listen, we all make mistakes, but how you rise up from those mistakes is so, so important. And if you want to be a leader who evolves, and I talk to leaders who evolve all the time,
Mhm.
you can say, I was an ogre. I was a jerk. I learned a lot. I didn't do things well, made mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you own that, A, you're showing up as a vulnerable and authentic human being. But B, you're saying, I want to be better. I want to
Yeah.
grow. And who isn't inspired by that?
I agree 100% with that. We've learned that in our company where, hey, we have to own our own things. We're co-owned. I have another female owner, and we have an instance we're supposed to be creating all these videos for our social media department. And it's like, my bad, I didn't do it this week. And I can have all the excuses. Well, we had a hurricane. That's a good excuse, but still, the work didn't get done
True.
either way. So,
Sure.
it's owning that. And then I think they appreciate it because it's like, well, we all have bad days. We all have stuff that sometimes we can't get what we want done. How do you assess the health of your culture of your company? How do you
Mm.
know if it's good or bad? Like, I hate to use this as an analogy, but sometimes I've had, people where they've committed suicide and you thought everything was fine with them. They seem like they were good,
Yeah.
but then they're not.
Yeah.
So how do you know, like on the outside, you may think, oh yeah, culture's
Yeah.
good. Everyone seems happy at my company, but there might be things brewing and you have no idea.
Yeah. So there is a $1 trillion disengagement dilemma happening.
Hmm.
And what that basically is describing is a lack of inspiration from the ranks across your company.
Hmm.
So when you're having a team meeting, are people quiet? Are their cameras on? Are they nodding?
Hmm.
Are they making eye contact? Or are they sitting there taking notes or worse on their phone or off camera or, mailing it in, showing up, just
Hmm.
sitting arms crossed? Because if any of those things are
Yeah.
happening, you've lost your people. And I will say this, the leaders who are the worst, the biggest micromanagers, the ones who use fear as their style,
Hmm.
they manage up very well. And so if you are a C-suite leader,
Hmm.
you often don't know where the problem is from. You don't know the leader who's doing it because that leader might be amazing to you. They might say, I'm getting you all the things you're asking for. My people are going to suffer like hell,
Yeah.
but I'm giving you everything you need. And so it's so important to have those check-ins. And there's a really amazing tactic that we did at IBM that I thought was really normal across the board, but
Mhm.
it's not. And what I call it is building a culture of advocacy. And when you do that, you're basically saying to all of your executives across the organization, all right, you guys, we're instituting this culture of advocacy. We are allowing people to have informational interviews with you
Mhm.
from divisions and departments that you don't work
Yeah.
with. And so that person has this 30 minutes with someone they've never met. And the executive gets to say, tell me your story. And all of a sudden, you get to share. This is what I'm really good at. This is what I love to do. And tell me about your organization. I've got 3 jobs from doing that. And one of them was so cool. I talked to this woman. She said she was a VP at the time, and she said, "Tell me your story." And so I told her, and I gave her, what I'd been doing. And I said, "Do you have anything on your team? Because I'm looking to make a move." And she's like, "Lindsay, I have 5 jobs that you could choose from. So take your pick. I'm going to describe them all, and you can chart your course." Do you know how refreshing that is?
Yeah.
How inspiring that is? And when you make sure that the leaders kept it, you have to be a secure
Yeah.
leader to allow your people to go and interview other places. But I came from the school of thought that if someone wanted to leave my team, I fully supported them, even if I didn't think they were ready,
Yeah.
because I wanted everyone on my team to want to be there.
Yeah.
And the people that saw them leave, they're like, she was only here for like 6 months. You're going to let her go? I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep her. Her work is going to suffer. She's not going to be happy.
Mhm.
Of course, I want to support her and I want to advocate for her. No, I'm not going to have these people forever. And any leader that thinks that someone's going to stay there for 23 years, those days are gone. So you have to support your people on their journey. It's a
Yeah.
much different conversation than, you're going to stay loyal to me and be here for more than a decade or even more than 5 years. That's just unheard of
Yeah, because
now.
people grow. We just had one of our publishing coordinators wanted to leave and go work at a big traditional publishing house. And I was like, congratulations. Like, that's a step you're going to grow and see and experience that. Let's support you in that way, I think is really important. And I love, and
It
something that
is.
I read that you did, you talk about that you should interview, like, have them interview you for a job. You should be interviewing the company.
Oh,
Oh, it's like, okay,
100%.
I'm a CEO, you're doing our VP for this job. Can I talk to your team members and see what they think of you?
That is such an important thing. And interviewing has changed. It used to be the company that was interviewing you
Mhm.
had all the power. You have so much more power than you understand. And it is your job to make sure you're vetting
Mhm.
this company you're going to. I thought I vetted. I kind of blindly jumped into this other company. The culture was terrible. And look, I got fired. You have to ask, hey, can I speak to a few people on your team? If they say no, red flag. If you say, tell me how you manage when the chips are down. Like, what do you do
Yeah.
in times of stress? And how do you get the best out of your people? But when you ask those other people on the team, what are some of the things that you love about this manager? What are some things you wish you could change? And if you had a magic wand, what would be your ideal team to
Right.
work for? Like you have any number of questions you can ask, but it's your responsibility because you're making a jump. You want to be paid well, obviously, but you want your
Yeah.
heart to be healthy. And your heart is what's going to make
So
you
think
do your
about it.
best
It'd be
work.
like marrying a guy and not meeting his family.
Right. Pretty much. I talked to
Looks
you, but
good
I
on
didn't talk to
paper.
you.
Like, I don't know a lot about you, but now I haven't met your friends. I haven't met your family. I haven't met anybody who
Yeah,
knows you. I think we work with a guy like that. Yeah.
it's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great example. I mean, really, because to have that, first of all, to have that blind faith is
Yeah.
ludicrous. Like nobody does that anymore. So you really have to think carefully about any
Yeah.
move you're going to make. And you know, these processes can be really slow. So
Yeah.
while you're waiting, say, "Let me talk to
Yeah,
a few
and
people
doing
on the team."
research, right?
And
There's
ask
so many
them,
things. I know you can read
yeah.
reviews of the company and all that different things. You're like,
100%.
yes.
The LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn is so helpful to understand what's going on there. You might see people that are connected to people that work at the company. Hey,
Mhm.
could you introduce me? so I could just see what the culture is like over there. That's a
Yeah.
non-threatening ask. That's an
All
easy
right.
one.
Well, tell people where they can find you. This was really helpful. I really appreciate your input.
Yeah, my website is called heartbeatforhire.com. All of my socials are connected there. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So please connect with me if you heard it and say that
Terrific.
Melanie sent
So
you.
thanks for joining us today. And I'm from Elite Online Publishing. My co-owner is Jen Foster. We help make people best-selling authors. Whether you've worked with another publisher or you just have an idea, we can help you take your idea with our VIP book creation day and turn it into a book. So we'll see you next time. Make sure you like and share our podcast and share it with someone else that you think will be helpful. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.